Okay, so welcome back. Today we're going to talk about the distributive property, and this is a very math teacher thing to say, but the distributive property is by far my favorite property of all of the properties of numbers. I use it every day, probably 10, 15 times a day, and not just because I'm an algebra teacher. I use it because it's incredibly useful. So most often, the distributive property can be used to help you with mental math. For example, if you need to do something like 88 times 6, so 88 times 6, really quickly in my head, that's going to be 528. And the reason I can do that so fast is because I can break it down using the distributive property to do kind of a shortcut. So for example, 88 is the same thing as 80 plus 8. So when I'm doing 6 times 88, I'm really doing 6 times 80 plus 8. Now that 6 can distribute to both things inside, making it 6 times 80, which is 480, because I'm just doing 6 times 8, which is 48, and adding a 0. And then 6 times 8 is 48. And when I add those two together, 480 plus 48, I get 528. And it's way, way, way easier for me to do that in my head than trying to keep track of like carrying a 1 and then adding things together. It's just so much easier. So the distributive property is just amazing. It's the best. It's my favorite, which is an incredibly math teacher thing to say. Doing mental math in this manner allows you to do way more complicated things in your head. So I would definitely stress that you should try it sometime. If you have to do like a double-digit number times a single-digit number, definitely try doing the distributive property. So now, because this is an algebra class, we're going to need to expand this to do some algebra with it as well. So the distributive property will often be used for simplifying algebraic expressions. So we've already looked at a few of these algebraic expressions, but I usually will just simplify the whole process down by saying multiply by everything inside. So the simple instructions, multiply by all the things inside. An example of this would be 3 times, in parentheses, y plus 5. So if I take that 3 and multiply it by y, I'll get 3y. And then 3 times 5 would be 15. So 3 times y plus 5 becomes 3y plus 15. Just like that. Now we're going to use this quite a bit in this class, but let's take a look at some examples that I'd like you to try. So first of all, try to use the distributive property to do 72 times 6 in your head. So you can break 72 down into 70 and 2, and then multiply both of those by 6 individually, and then add them together. Give this a try, pause the video. Seriously, I'll wait. No, seriously, pause the video. I'll wait. Okay, so if you're doing 6 times 70 plus 2, 6 times 70 is 420. 6 times 2 is 12, so that means that 72 times 6 is 432. Now, as far as variables go, let's look at another example here. You've got 7 times x minus 8, so you're going to distribute the 7 to both things inside. 7 times x is 7x, there you go. 7 times negative 8 is going to be, what, like negative a billion? No? You sure? Okay, 7 times negative 8 is negative 56. Oh my gosh, I made a mistake in my slides. I wrote it as negative 48 when it's negative 56. Good Lord, I should go to math teacher jail. So there we go. We have the distributive property and where we can use it. Like I said, in your day-to-day life, you're most likely going to use it to help you with mental math because you can break down 2-digit numbers into 2 single-digit numbers, or at least into a tens and a regular ones unit, and then multiply them both individually and then add them together. With variables, we're going to use them a lot to simplify algebraic expressions. So, yeah, enjoy the rest of your day.